I don't have the music ready to go at all. I can play the Dragon Ball music. That's right. We're back once more. Welcome to the premier anime podcast in the world, Talking Reckless 321. My name's Matt Eads.
So many people, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, you should go listen to Super Saiyan Pod Super Saiyan. If you didn't get that inside joke, you should go listen to Super Saiyan Pod Super Saiyan, our Dragon Ball Z podcast, where Andy's watching Kai for the first time, and we talk about Dragon Ball Z. It's very good.
Yeah, well, I'm done Kai now, which you gotta mention, so, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get some more Super Saiyan Pod Super Saiyan under our belt soon. Yeah. Andy Captain, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt Eads. Pleasure to be here as always.
Brandon Lynch is here as well, the Gotenks move name expert.
I only knew the one. I also knew one of the
ones. Boy, do you ever know it.
But didn't know the right answer.
Oh, welcome back. This is the video game podcast, but we will have more Super Saiyan Pod Super Saiyan coming before too long here. Boy, oh boy, some things have happened. We missed last week. Things just didn't really come together. We are once again recording from home, not because of the quarantine, which has been slowly lifting here, because I left my keys in the car and cannot get to the studio. So I might have to run out here at some point if AMA shows up, which hopefully they will soon-ish.
That'd be something that would be worth putting this podcast on hold for, is for you to run out and get your car unplugged.
Yeah, that'd be like 20 minutes.
That'd be all right. Yeah, well, it's got to get done.
Yes, and obviously the Black Lives Matter protests and movement has been... You're going to hear me pause and hesitate a lot here. There's a lot of very charged language around a lot of this stuff. But it's obviously a very important issue. We had a protest here in Edmonton. Apparently 15,000 people, what was that, last night in real life time?
Yeah.
Real life time, yeah.
Yeah, which is a huge number of people for Edmonton, all at the ledge. Fucking good for us. If you're in Edmonton and you were out there, good for you. Putting yourself on the line to get out there and try to get this message across.
Also, I will say, looked like 80% masks. So
yes, good.
That was good to see.
And it was peaceful. No rioting, no stores smashed as far as I know, no cars on fire. It was a good, peaceful, powerful protest.
They were all, everyone stretched back all the way from the ledge grounds on the south side. I don't know if you know the layout very much, or if anyone will. It's probably a little too inside baseball, but there's the kind of amphitheater style thing on the ledge grounds where they were having the program, and then people just kept stacking back and back and back, and eventually got into the parking lot around all the media vehicles. And I'm like, well, only takes one bad person to not like the media and smash those windows or something. And we got back there, and they were all in pristine condition.
Yeah, the media is a very important tool in times like these, it turns out. I'm looking at pictures right now. It's pretty incredible, actually. Just the sea of people stretching to the horizon. A lot of red.
Yeah, there's some really good drone footage.
That's very neat. It is a very important issue, though, obviously. Educate yourself. I have been getting involved in giving to bail funds, which I think is... again, this language is very charged. It's not a neat thing to donate to. It fucking sucks that this even has to happen. But the thought that that money is going to go and get somebody out of jail who is out there, getting these gas grenades shot into their faces and having eyeballs explode, and all the hundreds and hundreds of cases of police brutality that we've seen, especially out of America in the last week, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's been a long week.
Get involved. Educate yourself. It is very, very important.
The bail fund is cool because cool being
cool.
Right.
Mondo, cool, Brando.
The idea of people coming together to bail protesters out is very cool because it is one of the most tangible things that I've ever donated to, where I can totally, one-to-one, be like, oh, this guy's bail was set at $150. I donated $150. I totally, if so facto, as I like to say, help get this guy back on the streets.
Yeah, it's very that's what appealed to me specifically with the bail fund. There are a ton of good places that if you can support monetarily, you can. There's a lot of avenue if you can support by getting out there and protesting and spreading the message and even just talking to people around you. That is a good way to get involved. But educate yourself. First and foremost, educate yourself. Any closing thoughts here on not closing again, the language is so charged that oh man.
We're gonna wrap this whole thing up right now, right
Let's
here.
Let's just end the show.
Yeah.
No, of course not. It feels like as someone with a platform, not a big platform, but still someone with a platform, like it is our responsibility to again do what we can. This is part of how we get out there and get the message out. And again, it's not going away. I don't think it's not just something that's gonna disappear. I think that it is big change. I think and hope is probably starting for real.
Yeah, this is a historical moment for sure. Something's happening.
To that point, I would say to the white people that attended a rally, if you left very satisfied with it, your head is probably not in the right place. It's a rally. It's not something that you go attend, feel good about yourself, and then are like, I did it. I was at the rally. Let's back to business now. It's supposed to those rallies are supposed to make you angry, supposed to make you upset for the cause. They're supposed to make you want to fund the cause. So my advice would be if you left being like, that's a great rally. I'm glad we did that. All right, back to life. Then maybe the point was missed on you.
Yeah, that's very, very well said, I think, as well. And now, what I heard
shifting gears,
the Giant Bombcast lovingly call the impossible pivot, because how do you possibly just 180 and let's talk about video games for a while? You guys want to talk about some video games for a little while? Or?
Always.
All right.
That's what I'm here for, talking video games.
Oh
recklessly.
Man, yeah. And let's not forget, like, there is still like global pandemic on. It's 2020 is the year that just keeps giving. Bring it on, July.
Yeah. Hopefully
Aliens.
Hopefully one day we will read about 2020 in the history books as a pivot point for change.
Yes.
And not the worst year in all of history.
Yeah. I played a little bit of. Well, I've played a lot more Red Dead RP. Been deep into that Red Dead RP. I play on the Wild West server, which is a little modded thing. It's getting better, technically. Andy already had to go pee. Oh, he's getting a beer.
Yeah.
All right, you know what?
Well, look at those PJs.
Yeah, the Satan eyes are gonna pause him when he's gone. It is. It technically it was pretty rough when it started. It's a mod of a kind of bad thing. Reddit Online as it is kind of sucks. Pardon me. It was getting better and better. They're like adding new emotes they got in, which are like really, really well animated in a way. You can really make your character look like an NPC now, which is super fun. And just the storytelling and the willingness that everybody has to go along with it. It is maybe I've even said this here on the show, for the same reasons that I like wrestling. The idea of wrestling, this joke that everybody is in on, but swears to uphold the joke, never break kayfabe. Everybody knows that wrestling matches fake, whatever, but we're all gonna kind of pretend it's not and talk about it like it's not. And just having so many different people, like everybody you meet, you just assume is going to, and everybody has just completely buy into whatever you're selling. It doesn't matter what. And I've been very much the same way, where like I've met a dude who said he was a vampire, which I think we talked a little bit about. Which was fucking real weird. I met a dude who was a time traveler who said he got in a horse accident and he had this little chip in his head that in the accident he and someone else like banged heads and somehow this chip ended up in someone else and we got to save the future. I gotta get that chip. And a lot of weird shit. A lot of really weird shit.
What kind of time travel we're dealing with in the Old West?
I think he's from the future. I don't know. He directly referenced what I, the player, understood as the quarantine. So presumably he's from somewhere past our future. But I don't. Yeah. So also, you're not supposed to do that. Where I got it because it's supposed to be
gonna
the
ask.
Wild West. There's no vampires. They're gonna be crazy people who think they're vampires, but there's no real vampires. There's no real time travelers. It's very weird, but I've never not had fun. I've gone in there, and what did we do last week? We was just hunting bear with a bunch of these 4 people, and we formed a little posse, and we all put our hands in the middle, and we all said the name of the posse. Everybody, we're all great friends now, and I really like it. I can't say enough good shit about it.
This might be a dumb question, but was the concept of a vampire even known at the time this setting takes place?
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, when
was
was
the
Bram Stoker's
first
Dracula
fictional-
written?
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
see.
and even Dracula was after
Yeah, there would
a
have definitely.
vampire, right?
Well, these 1897 was when Dracula was written. When does Red Dead 2 take place? It's set in 1899. So yeah, Dracula would have been written 2 years
Okay.
before Red Dead 2. Dracula would be like hot fiction probably right now.
Right. All right,
And
I'm in. I'm back
and
in.
There is a vampire somewhere in the campaign, I think, too, if I remember. Must have Red Dead 2 vampire in here. Yeah, there totally is.
Like, I really like the idea of someone like claiming to be a vampire, and then at the end of the day, them not being a vampire. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm on board with an actual vampire being in the Wild West.
Yeah, so that person can't be a vampire, but he fed me peyote after, and then I went on this crazy peyote trip, and it's so good. It's what I wanted the multiplayer to be in Red Dead 2, where even just a fraction of it, even just the taste of it, where just let me and my posse, if we just want to go out hunting and fishing, and let us set up camp like we would actually have to set up camp. Let have someone like stoke the fire, even though it doesn't really do anything, and the little actions that you take along the way, and like, oh, I'm gonna lean on this rail and smoke a cigarette because that's what NPCs in this game do, and I just want to look like one of these NPCs. It's really good.
I wanted that world to be populated in a way that the single player campaign is.
Yes,
but
totally.
With multiplayer players.
Real car.
It's a real car.
Yeah, and that's totally what the roleplay is. Where like, it reminds me of Westworld a lot, where you're walking through, like they go to that first town, and there's all the Westworld quest givers who are like, hey, I gotta heard about gold in these mountains or whatever.
Yeah.
There's totally a regular group that is pretty familiar with the game that just hangs out in Valentine and does that exact shit. Where like, as new players walk in, 100%, we're like, hey partner, we're going on a bear hunt. Like throws a rifle to you, like come on, and
that's cool.
It's very good. I really really like it. If you're at all interested in knowing what it is, you should come watch the stream. We'll be doing a lot of it next few weeks, I think. Maybe Red Dead 3. Who knows? Rockstar should do it. People love Grand Theft Auto role-playing. People love Red Dead role-playing. They should read the room a little bit. Maybe they could make their own thing. Imagine a sanctioned, like, actually well, not that this is not well developed, but, it's bolted on to Red Dead, so it's very janky. Imagine something built from the ground up for it.
Yeah, that would be. You'd think that would be a bit of a daunting challenge for developers, though, too, because even like you're saying with this, it's so special that you'd probably want to see it play out for a little while, and make sure you're getting involved with it as a developer too, to make sure you're capturing what makes that so special, but then just adding on to it, right? So like that would be. I'd feel a little bit of pressure trying to tackle something like that. But it'd be cool if they did do it. You're right.
It feels almost like Sea of Thieves. Like if it feels like that's what Sea of Thieves was meant for people when it first came out, where like, here is this just open canvas. You really got to get in there and kind of make your own fun. But with the Red Dead RP, there's this like, you have to take it seriously, or these fucking admins will ban the shit out of you. And
right, it seems like just the idea of existing in that world is enough effort on your end to kind of make it worth it, whereas in a Sea of Thieves where you're just like, I'm going to check out and look at my phone for 15 minutes while we're on this boat and not answer any of my friends.
Yeah, it's very good, and I still am like really having trouble putting my finger on exactly what makes it so special, but it's definitely that kind of role playing with other people, meeting other people and having these incredible stories just happen.
Yeah, it's that unexpected factor, right? Every time you sit down to do it, you don't know what you're going to engage in, right? Whether it's just, some sort of simple day, just going and starting up a camp somewhere, but you're still hanging out with people and kind of talking, or going on an adventure. Somebody's tricking you into making you think you're hunting vampires, and it turns out they're a vampire the whole time. Like, just shit that makes you go, what? Like,
we're gonna find them.
Happen?
We're gonna find them.
Yeah, it's super cool, and that's, I've said it before too. The thing about that really impresses me, and like you've brought up, is just how everybody commits to it. Right? It's the improv rule, right? You never say no. If somebody's just like, "Hey, a UFO crashed over there. I'm gonna go take a look at it. You want to come with me?" Okay, yeah. Like, you don't say no. There's no UFO over there. You say, "Yeah, let's fucking go take a peek." Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is truly something special. I had a closing thought, and then I totally. That's okay.
Sorry.
Sign. Oh, and it's not you at all. Sign of the times, partner. There's a lot going through this head these days.
Have a sip of that beer. That'll bring it back to you.
Yeah. I also started playing a game called Monster Train, which is stop if you've heard this before, a deck building roguelike, where you're kind of playing short games, building a new deck almost from scratch every time. Getting random cards along the way. It kind of has the it's very similar to a lot of games I am liking right now, where it's like you're getting these random artifact things that give you random abilities, much like a Risk of Rain or a Binding of Isaac or whatever. And it does the thing that, much like a Risk of Rain or like a Slay the Spire does, it always feels like you're kind of the card mechanics combo in such a way that it always feels like you're right on the brink. You're one card away from completely destroying the game, absolutely doing infinite damage or something, and just breaking the whole thing. But it never quite gets there. Like, the carrot is always just very dangled in front of you very, very well. And I really like it. It's got a lot of depth to it. You're kind of unlocking cards as you play. I don't really know how much people will get from me just breaking down specific mechanics or whatever.
It sounds a lot like Slay the Spire.
It's a lot, yes. Very, very, very similar to Slay the Spire. It feels like it has a bit more, like a bit wider of a breadth to it, where in Slay the Spire there are maybe like 4 champions now, 4 decks you kind of play. In this there are 5 colors, colors is magic. They're guilds, maybe? Alliances, clans, one of those words. There are 5 of them.
Essentially colors, right?
Essentially
like,
colors, yeah. There's like red, green, blue, white, black, basically. Just like Magic. And you're picking 2 of them, which is kind of cool. So you're like, you pick a primary one, which gives you, everyone has, there's a special card called the Champion, where your primary color will choose a champion, and then your secondary one is kind of your complementary color, so you'll get not the champion, but still cards from that deck, so you can build different color decks, and the mechanics synergize differently. It's very cool. There's a lot to kind of explore to it, and the randomness is a lot of fun. Like getting random artifacts, much like Binding of Isaac. You're like, oh, I found this one item I didn't even know existed. Seems so powerful. Seems so broken. And oh man, if I can only get these 2 items, well, imagine what's gonna happen. It's very, very good.
So, is it like in Slay the Spire? You could complete a run.
Mm-hmm.
In a sitting. Is this like that?
Yep, this has you do 7 levels every time, and you'll get kind of you have like a path to choose, where it's like, down this path there are 2 types of upgrades, on this one there are 2 different types of upgrades, or right. I can remove a card from my deck or whatever, and so you have to choose a path every time, and then you get to the bottom, and when you win, and you are kind of there's like a ratcheting difficulty level where I think it's called Covenant, maybe Covenant rank or something, where it's like you be on Covenant 1 and then on Covenant 2, which has more. It's harder somehow. The numbers are bigger,
right?
And it goes all the way up to Covenant 25. And I have beaten Covenant 0. I've unlocked Covenant 1. I've beaten 1 run, and I cannot beat Covenant 1. I played maybe 40 or 50 runs, and I just cannot do it. And Kevin is somewhere.
And then is your deck carrying over from run to run?
Nope, you finish a run, and then you pick 2 new colors if you want, or
right.
pick a new selection, and you start with a certain amount of random cards based on the Covenant, and then you're just drafting after each. Certain things will give you cards, or like, oh, I get to pick a unit here or whatever.
On death, you lose all your cards?
Yes, yeah, but you
So
can have like a
what's
level.
What's the persistent roguelike thing?
There is a like experience bar that the points feed into, and as it levels up, you'll unlock more cards for that color, which are quite often more powerful. But they unlock pretty fast. It seems like you unlock all the cards really fast, and then it's kind of learning how to best combine them and things.
So you have all those cards for the beginning of your next run.
Yes, yeah, they will be in the pool,
Okay.
so you will have a chance to randomly get them.
So you are getting better even through death.
Yep. Yeah, it's
run by run.
slowly feeding into that progress bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. The music fucking slaps, man. It is. It's going on the best music of the year contender list, at least.
Going to be
it's
tough
got
to beat
some
Risk of
real-
Rain early.
Yeah, that's very true. Final Fantasy VII has some real good music too, actually.
Yeah, it is actually really good.
Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Speaking of Final Fantasy VII,
That's me.
I
Segue to me.
heard Tifa's in this game.
I've met
Oh,
Tifa.
shit,
I know who Tifa is. I am, I think, 4 or 5 chapters into Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just rode a motorbike
Oh shit! Yes, that
through a
Great.
tunnel,
yeah,
trying to speak vaguely.
yeah. You met Roche.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that I knew that was his name yet, but that's not a spoiler. His name is question mark.
Sorry, motorcycle man. Just descriptor.
Yeah.
Full disclaimer, that might not actually be his name. I've only ever played the remake the once through. I'm pretty sure it's Roche though.
Yeah.
Like
So
The
I've
Witcher.
basically done kind of your first little hub experience, complete with a bunch of side quests you can do, and I did all those. And then I've kind of carried on with the story. Not very much. I'm really only playing like an hour at a time right before bed, so it's going pretty slow. But I look, as I always do with games, I kind of look at how many chapters or missions there are in a game, just so I can kind of get an idea of where I am in terms of how long a game is going to take me. And this game is maybe not as long as I thought it was.
It's I'm trying to think how long it took us. I think I want to say like 30ish, 30. Yeah, probably 30, and I think we did pretty much. I think we did literally everything. That's not true
Yeah?
at all.
I
No,
was-
we,
I think
we
I
did,
was
we did miss
thinking
a
more
few
like
kind of
50.
side objectives. Yeah,
I thought
it
it was
might-
going to be some big 50-hour thing.
It's
But it does not
it's
seem
not
like
big.
it's going to be.
No, it's not very big. Like you say, you did all the side quests in that area. Is everything?
Yeah.
Like so far, you have 100%ed all the content. There were
Right.
some VR
And-
battles and things that I didn't end up doing.
I think they said there was like 20-some of those side quests, and
Yep.
you rattle off like 6 of them in that first area, so...
Yeah, and some of them go pretty fast. Some of them are actually like it's one quest, but they're broken into like do step 1, 2, 3. It's
Right.
Yeah, it felt like a good.
I really like...
Sorry.
What?
Oh, I was gonna say it felt like a good. It felt like a good. It didn't feel too long. Didn't feel too short. Like it felt like a good. I'm pretty sure it was around 30ish hours, between 25 and 30 hours. I would
and
say.
I'm positive when I say that it doesn't seem as long as I thought it was going to be. That is 100% a positive.
Yeah.
So I... what was I going to say? What was my going to be?
It's about
There's
dresses.
something about- it does seem like there's like a lot of stuff that maybe is there to kind of pad it out, like some of the like monster analysis stuff, assessment stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's like checklists you can do in there where I'm like, well, I don't really know if I need to do 100% all this stuff. But maybe that's how you get to that 50-hour mark that I heard from people, because
Yeah.
I don't see it in even the main and the side content. I don't really see it taking that long.
And there are a lot of mini games you can like darts and whatever that you can you keep doing until you be perfect or whatever.
I fucking am done darts. I 7-darted the dartboard.
Braggart. Is that the high score?
Yes. Yeah. Which I assume is the only thing you have to do with the darts. I got my trophy, walked away.
Yeah,
Took
nice.
me
There's a
3
bunch.
tries.
There's a bunch of darts equivalents in
Yeah.
in there.
I'm excited. I'm excited to wreck you guys at sit-ups or whatever the fuck you were talking about.
Squats. Ain't nobody
Squats.
out squatting
I
me.
got it. Oh, well, maybe I'm good at darts and bad at squats. What is squats? What's the mechanic for squats?
You're like, it's like Simon Says, but with a
Like
certain
inputs,
timing.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but then they take the input away, so you just have to. It's speeding up, and you have to like intuit how fast it's speeding up and how fast you need to accelerate the pattern, and it's very hard. Let me tell you, as the best at it, it's very hard. You probably won't even.
Do you know what your record is?
I honestly don't remember. I have to listen back. 52 maybe or 62. I'd have to listen back.
I'll crush it.
I crushed Kevin, I know. So you probably will crush me because Kevin's like, no one can beat 40 or whatever. And on my first try, I smoked him.
I'm playing it on easy, as per
Yeah.
your recommendation. Seems fucking easy,
It's very easy on easy. Holy shit.
but I kind of just didn't want to ever run into that wall on normal because I didn't think that the combat was important enough to me in that game to
Yeah.
ever push myself up against the limits of it. So I was like, well, I'm kind of here for the story. So I'm going to just maybe cruise through this thing.
The anime.
I'm here for the anime.
Yeah, it's very
I'm
good.
here for Cloud. I'm here for all the people who are horny for Cloud.
Everybody in the whole world.
I'm here for Cloud not being into anyone who's horny for him. I'm into the fact that he
so
actually has
stupid.
numerous big swords. Not just the one that he's famous for.
Oh, yeah. There's a really
that being
funny
his
weapon
dick.
later. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm super digging it right now.
It's very-
like I said, I'm playing it in short bursts.
It's very Dragon Ball in a lot of spots, Andy. Final Fantasy VII. The next thing that we'll have to get you. The next Dragon Ball Z we need to make you watch.
Like I said,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing that is keeping me from being hesitant about it is that you guys keep saying the combat does not matter whatsoever, because that's what I wanted to be fun in that game.
You should play Sekiro then.
You should play Sekiro.
Okay.
You want good combat? You should play Sekiro.
Yeah.
You want good anime?
Sekiro is
should
also anime in a
continue
very,
watching
very
Dragon
different
Ball.
way.
There's
I mean,
just
I'll
a
play
moment
Final Fantasy.
where there's a moment which is just so small but so anime that just got me hooked right in from the beginning, where it's like the intro to the game and it's like introducing the crew, and then what's his name, Barrett, is just like, Merc, get down here, and Cloud does the most unnecessary backflip off the train
Yeah, it's
and
also
lands like in a 3-point stance, and I'm like, oh yeah,
also
this
he's
is what I
just
need.
fucking standing on top. Everyone else in the train, Cloud is just like
Yeah.
standing there getting hit by bugs and shit. Oh
Yeah.
man,
Could
it's so
just do-
dumb.
Could just step off. Could just
Yep.
step off the train.
Yep.
But it's this big like corkscrew fucking backflip, holding this sword. And I was in from there.
It's very good. I'm excited for the journeys to come. Once you're done that game, we'll have to sit down and with Kevin have ourselves some Final Fantasy talk. I think.
Yeah, if it's closer to 30 hours, then I should be there. I was on the verge of, just with how slow it was going, of telling you guys like, fucking do it while it's still in your heads, because
Oh, it's still
it's gonna take me a while.
It hasn't left. I'm still processing. I'm still working things out.
Good.
What else you been up to?
The reason I took a big break on Final Fantasy VII between the first time we talked, where I had just done the kind of prologue thing, or chapter 1, I guess, where you do the first reactor. I put that game down because I was playing it, and I was like, I really need to play Last of Us 1 again before Last of Us 2 comes out.
There's
So
time.
I spent the better part of the last couple weeks, or last week and a bit, playing Last of Us 1 and the Left Behind DLC, which is a big story DLC that came with it, with the remastered edition. That game doesn't look great anymore, I think,
Yeah.
because it is the kind of game that looked so good at the time.
It looked so good at the time.
It
Like,
was probably, like most Naughty Dog games, when they come out, you kind of think they might be the best looking game ever made.
yeah. Usually
At the
there's this
point they come
effect
out.
of like you see a game and you're like, oh shit, like you see a better looking, you're like, this looks how I thought it looked in my head, but I see Last of Us, I'm like, this looks like fucking shit. Did this always look like this?
But
What the hell?
And I totally think it's because of that, like that great visual quality of Naughty Dog, that I think about Last of Us, and I see Uncharted 4.
Yes, that's maybe
my
what
head.
I'm doing as well, subconsciously.
And then you go back and you're like, oh, this doesn't look good at all.
Yeah.
Um,
How's it hold up? How's the gameplay hold up? How's the shooting? And I know that's always a little.
I mean, I never
polarizing.
thought the gameplay in Last of Us was amazing. I thought the stealth was not great. I thought everything was super satisfying to do, but super hard to pull off. Like, I always had this grand vision of how an encounter was going to go in my head, and it always ended up with me getting about 2 stealth takedowns in, and then everyone running at me, and I'm like, well, this sucks. This was supposed to be entirely stealth. But then you start hitting people with baseball bats, and the baseball bats and the 2x4s are breaking over their head, and you're like, no, this game's pretty rad.
Man gets shivved with a bottle real nasty in that game. I think a lot of people get shivved with a bottle real fucking nasty in that game.
Oh yeah. There's some violent graphic stuff. In a way that I'm like, I wonder what they're doing for number 2.
Yeah, that game is in like a week. What is the
close.
release date on that?
I thought it was like the 19th, wasn't
it? It is the 19th. Good call. Yeah, so that'll be 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Friday. Yeah, that's coming. Holy smokes!
Hot damn. Also, story obviously timeless.
That
was
beginning
kind of
part
why I was playing it.
is still. I don't know what it is about that opening. It gets me in a way a lot of games
staggering.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real kick. Have you played Last of Us, Andy?
Oh yeah, I remember that the opening, like you guys were kind of losing it over it. It took me a long time to actually find that game. I remember the guy I was living with at the time found somebody who was selling it on Kijiji, and he was at his T-shirt store off of White Ave in Edmonton. He's like, "Yeah, just swing by and come pick this up." And like I go into his store, and this guy's got like piercings all over his face, and he's like this really tough dude, like a skull shirt, and all his shirts in this store and stuff were all like super like fucking snakes like biting skulls and shit all over it. Like this guy's like super intense, but like a super chill dude though. He's just like, "Hey man, you come here to get the game or whatever?" I'm like, yeah. He's like, "Oh, I already played through the whole thing. It's really good. Just $20 is fine. I'll just take it." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll give you $25 for it." And then there's like this weird moment where I like felt like I needed to like look around his store or something because there's nobody in it. Probably doesn't exist to this day, but
He's just
yeah,
I'm gonna
head
out here.
Head out now. It just, he just seemed like the type of person who like wanted to keep talking and like wanted to hang out. I was like, "You're fucking super off-putting with your image. I would never buy anything that's in this store, and I just want to go home and play this game." So, anyways, that's how I got the game. And then, since it was a little bit later after everybody else, that the opening stuff was still impactful, but I felt like it was a little diluted because everybody was like, "Oh fuck, that opening scene's gonna really hit you. Oh shit!" And then as soon as I started hearing all that, I was like, fuck, it's not gonna shock me as much as it would have if I would have just popped it open and experienced it at the same time with everybody else. But still a very, very emotional opening.
Can we talk about the ending? Is it past the beginning or the ending?
I think we can put like a little spoiler warning here. Maybe say skip ahead 5 minutes from this point. We'll keep it. I'm looking at the clock here. All right, we have 5 minutes.
Are you gonna put the timer on?
Yeah, I got the timer on. So Last of Us spoilers can begin now. Skip ahead 5 minutes if you don't want to hear any for the first game.
I mean, this is a long time. We got to fill now.
Well, it's fine.
I feel like that was the first time I had ever seen a. I'm trying to decide if I played Walking Dead or Last of Us first. But one of them was the first time I had ever seen a kid killed.
Yeah. They were both the same year, even, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Lot of zombie stuff around that
2010.
time.
Oh, Walking Dead would have been way before.
Walking Dead was way before then, yeah.
Yeah. What kid?
Yeah, because 13 is Last of Us.
What kid dies in the end of... In the DLC? No, in Last of Us.
No, I was just talking about the beginning of Last of Us.
Oh, yeah. In the
with
beginning.
the daughter. Yeah.
His daughter.
So fucked. There's a nice part with the giraffe. I like the part with the giraffe a lot. For some reason, that always stuck with me.
With that whole opening scene, I think this is one of the things too, where after hearing everybody talking about how like gut wrenching and stuff it was, as soon as it started up, I was like, his daughter's gonna get killed. Like it sounds like that's the fucking thing that's gonna happen.
Steel-hearted bastard.
Well, and also,
it wasn't being steel-hearted. I was like, she's not the main character. Yeah, like, sorry, Brando, go ahead.
No, we were gonna say the exact same thing. You know, at the point you played it, you know this is a story about Ellie and Joel, and you're like, that's not Ellie.
She's gonna come back as the antagonist in 2. She's still alive.
No, she did.
Yeah, all these years later. Yep, that's the Last of Us 2 spoiler I saw. She shows up in like a Metal Gear. Father.
See, that would be dope. Her just showing back up would be like, oh, that's stupid. But her fucking showing back up like a metal mech suit would be awesome. And then if she was like, everybody was like, how did you come back to life? And then she was like, I was wished back by the Dragon Balls. Then that'd be a fucking barn burner of a game, I tell you.
Everybody is here.
And then the fucking ending of that game is still a top 5er of all time for me.
Yeah. Oh, just the like sense of. I get no satisfaction from it, but I kind of love it.
Right, but in a good way. Yeah, like you are waiting for this story to kind of give you that happy ending, and it kind of does, because it a happy ending for Joel.
Yes,
where he's like, I can't go through this again. I'm keeping this kid no matter what. But very much a like, oh, this is just a tremendously broken and selfish man who is not willing to have 2 girls die on his watch.
Could have saved the world. Maybe.
Saved the world. Elected not to.
Maybe. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, it's real fucked. I'm very much looking forward to that next game.
And it ends with him just saying, I don't know. I don't think you know unless you know the kid. And also lost a kid, probably. Like, it's super easy for me to say, yeah, let's save the world. Yeah. But I think that's what makes the Joel character very good, is that they set him up right from get-go as being like, oh, this is a guy who failed to protect his daughter, and then goes through an entire game trying to protect this new girl, his daughter's age-ish, and then gets posed with the humanity versus have another kid die on your watch conundrum. And I think that's the only reason why it works, because otherwise I'd be like, oh, Joel, why would you do that? Whereas for me, that ending, it's like, well, there you go, it's only kind of half blame you.
We got 1 minute. 1 minute warning on spoiler talk.
She, at the very end, she's like, you have to promise me it happened exactly how you said it did. You have to promise me that you didn't steal me away and cause the end of the world. And he's like, I promise. And she's like, okay. And then it just cock with this great guitar string or strum. And it's just fucking goosebumps and chills every time.
Oh, soon we'll find out.
And then really quickly, in our last minute, the Left Behind DLC, also really, really good. If you haven't played it, it's a prequel. It's a Ellie prequel that takes place at a shopping mall, which it's combined, or it's a combination of her looking for meds for Joel, because it takes place during the part of the game where she's looking after him in the winter. Mm-hmm. But she goes to a mall to find meds, and that kind of gives her flashbacks of a mall she visited at the time. Back when she knew her friend Riley, who you hear about a lot during the game.
Gaston. There was. This is not a spoiler. Spoilers are done now. But there was. I remember an argument. I don't know where this was. We were discussing with somebody whether you should play Left Behind before you play the game, the main game, or after. Because it's a prequel, so I guess there is an argument that maybe you played before. My reasoning was you should play it after. I don't even remember what my reasoning was at the time. Not even remembering that it actually takes place. It is a prequel, but it takes place like in the latter third of the game or whatever of the main game.
Right.
You should definitely play it in the main game or after the main game.
And it calls to a bunch of stuff that they expect you to know. Having played the main game. I mean, it's the same thing when people ask you about the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
It's like...
maybe even a little...
Play them whenever you want, or experience it whatever you want if you've already experienced it before. But if you're experiencing it for the first time, always experience it in the order it came out, because they expect you to have that knowledge.
Yeah. The intended narrative, the way they intended you to experience it originally, is usually what I recommend.
Also, in the case of Star Wars, it's better to watch the good movies first.
Watch the good movies first, eh? Just no
Watch
matter
the OG
it's
trilogy.
7, 8,
Rogue
4,
One.
Rogue One, 3, 6. Maybe I don't know. You can throw 1 in there just to balance yourself out.
Couple Clone Wars episodes.
Oh,
Matt's a hater. I always forget.
yeah. I just haven't.
Not a participator.
I just don't like Jar Jar, and I never got past Jar Jar.
He is a prick.
He's the gatekeeper.
He's the big time gatekeeper. Yeah.
He's Jar Jar Binks separates the boys from the men when it comes to Star Wars fandom.
That's what they
You
say.
gotta get past Jar Jar if you want the expanded universe canon.
That's what it says right on the wiki. Anything else? Any other games, Rando? Before we move on to Young Droopers?
Nope, just those two.
Andy? How the hell are
Yeah,
you?
so I'm doing good, brother.
Good to
So
hear.
yeah, so as we know, because we talk about it an awful lot, as us all as 3 big fans now, I have been watching a lot of Dragon Ball, so my gaming
Yes.
time has been down a bit.
You're into
Also, too,
Super
it is-
now.
Yeah, I'm already there. So, anyways, Super Saiyan Pod, Super Saiyan coming up later this week.
Yes.
Did I get the name right?
Super Saiyan Pod, Super Saiyan. Yeah, nice.
Good.
Super's so good. I just want to say that Dragon Ball Super's so fucking goddamn good. It might be the best Dragon Ball that. It's so good.
Yeah, no, it is really good. Anyways, so it has been taken away a bit from my game time, and also too with it being nice outside, been getting outside a lot. But I'm still chugging through Ori. So I know I've talked about it the last couple of weeks, and I don't really have too much more to say other than, yeah, I just really am still liking where that game's headed. Still loving the progression with the new items and combat stuff. It's all really cool. And then yeah,
Performance
just so
still,
stunning.
Performance still a bit of an issue on the Xbox.
Nah,
One?
it's the same. It's the same issues that Brando's covered and I covered when I first started talking about it, where
Yeah.
it kind of hitches every now and then. But it's honestly, it's not even affecting it. It blows me away so much with just the visuals and that world, how it draws me in, that it kind of just, yeah, I don't even really pay attention to it anymore. If it hitches a little bit, I just kind of whatever. But yeah, it's just. I can't get over how beautiful it is. That's for me, that's the biggest thing. And also too, compared to the first Ori, just the movement and stuff as well too, I'm finding a lot more enjoyable in this. It seems like the progression right off the bat, they get you some of those familiar movement items a lot quicker. So like some of the wall climbing stuff and some of the different bouncing things. And it just, like when you're whipping around the map, just like running up walls fast and then shooting across to another wall and then grabbing a pole and then spinning up, and it's satisfying. Like the movement is super satisfying. So that's kind of the one new thing that I'm finding with the game that I've been really enjoying.
You're flying around that world pretty quick early on in a way that you were not in the first Ori, where it felt like at the end of the game you're like, oh, now I'm moving. This one you're moving right from the beginning, and then only get more cool powers to add on from there.
Do you think it'd be hard? Do you think it would have been hard to like do the hard, like, oh, I'm fast and I lost all my the typical God of War, like I lost all my powers and I suck now for the first.
Well, and that might be why they gave them to you so early, is because they're like, especially for Andy who played the end of 1 and then moved over, it would probably be like, oh fuck, now 5 hours of gameplay before I can double jump or whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you play them like back to back, you're like, oh, I gotta unlearn these abilities now.
Yeah, and they have enough new stuff where they can kind of throw those those older ones at you quickly, and then you're still. It seems like they're still going to keep it exciting with a lot of the new kind of badges that you can equip and some of the new special abilities that take soul and stuff. There seems like there's enough of that they can just be like, yeah, we might as well just fucking get you wall climbing here right out of the gate. And the one move that I really liked in the first one was the one where you get close to an enemy and then you can latch onto them and then shoot yourself in another direction. I just got that one super quick. So yeah, like even you mentioned, it would be frustrating to go 5 hours before getting that again. Like in that game, you're already running past the bulbs that are set in place to use that move.
Yeah.
So like I'm already thinking about it. I'm like,
it would
fuck,
be
I want
even
it
more
now.
frustrating. Yeah. I
Yeah,
totally
like,
know what
give me
this
that thing
does
now.
from the last game. Give me the power.
Yeah. So I really like that they're giving you that stuff quick, and I'm excited to see just how it expands on all of it moving forward. But yeah, just visually, it's so cool. And I think one of my favorite things about it as well too is, and this is like me maybe looking super in depth in it, but when it comes to the backgrounds and things like that, I appreciate the amount of work that they put into designing those backgrounds, but then they'll still blur them as they get farther off in the distance. Like, I just think the whole aesthetic of the whole thing is really neat. Like, every little detail down to the stuff that you don't even know about it because it's just supposed to be there kind of in the back of your mind the whole time. It's just super cool. Like, it's just, it's gorgeous. I can't get over it, the artwork in it.
The spider with the glowy things on it. Maybe that's. Have you seen a spider with glowy bits on it? I'm just looking at pictures here. Is it
his buddy? Like, who's that spider guy with the eyes?
No, he doesn't look like a buddy. I don't know. I'm sure you recognize this guy.
No, I don't think he's the. I know the spider Andy's talking about.
Yeah, there's a lot of good art here.
Yeah, it's so pretty, and then the music's
looks like
good too.
Like a really high quality production Disney or Pixar movie. Like more Disney than Pixar because it's not like it doesn't look like super computer animated. It looks by hand drawn in a lot of ways.
Paintings or
and also too I really like to just and there's lots of games that do this obviously, but I love a game that tells a story so well just through visuals. Like, it doesn't hold your hand through it. You kind of just have to, for the most part, watch what's going on, and the narrator kind of gives you little hints towards what's happening. But
3 skeletons around a toilet with a revolver between them.
It's environmental storytelling.
Yep.
No, it's
okay, Andy. Carry on.
Yeah, I don't get that one. That one goes over my head. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about flushing pies down the toilet again or something like that?
No, but if you want to have that talk, I turned a pie down today. I could have got it and flushed it. Damn.
Why'd you turn a pie down?
Because I ate a lot of the pie and was like, well, I don't know. If I take this, I'm just gonna eat this goddamn pie tonight, and I better just take it away from me.
Always take the pie in case we need it for the podcast.
Yeah, I took the ribs. I got a lot of barbecue and stuff.
That's not
I made it okay.
Cool.
So anyways, that's all I have to say about Ori. Still enjoying it. The other thing I've been doing a lot of with my good friend Matt Eads, and I'm actually really happy that you're playing this now. Yeah, I'm happy that you're playing this now because I was really hoping that I could get somebody that was super into it. But we've been playing and streaming a lot of Risk of Rain lately. We played, I think the first time we sat down and played, we played 6.5 hours of it one afternoon.
Yeah, we did a bunch of runs one day.
I remember watching you guys play that. First wondering why I wasn't invited. And then shortly after, when it got to about 4 hours in, being glad I wasn't invited. And then when it was about 6 hours in, being like, this is great for them. This is great for them. I think it's left me behind now. I don't think I'm going to be invited to Risk of Rain anymore.
Well, I never listen. I was never invited to Risk of Rain. I did the inviting. All right, no invited me. I got out there. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and invited some people.
Yeah, but you know how it is when you're streaming. No one. I can't just be like, let me in there.
I know.
Yeah, you got to kind of ask, right? So, but I never expected you to even get that
Everyone's
game.
more than welcome to play. Everyone's more than welcome. I sort of thought you guys didn't like that game, and then we played 6 straight hours, and here we are.
Well, I love that game. Brando and Warren and I played a couple of times, but we didn't really play beyond 30 to 45 minutes. So I just didn't think that they were super into it. So, but then I sat down with you and then we played for 6.5 hours. I was like, all right, he seems to like this. And then you started learning more shit than I knew, and I was like, wow, all right then, this is.
Start doing the research, like Monster Train. It's one of those games where you always feel like you're so like, man, if I just got this combination of items again, I could ruin this fucking game.
Well, and now it's gotten to the point, too, where you and I will be playing, and then I'll pick something up. You're like, hey, what'd you get, Andy? And I'm like, oh, I got the discs that charge and shoot at guys.
Fuck, Andy, you got the discs? You're the melee dude.
Why didn't you give me the discs?
I'm the engineer, Andy. We could have, and then I could have given you the snowflake, and you could have 3 of those snowflakes stacked up, but no.
How was I supposed to know a snowflake was going to pop up later?
Listen, so when you're playing with 2 people, it seems like you very much have to prioritize the loot. You're splitting the loot in half. I guess for the people who don't know where Risk of Rain is, it's a third person shooting game where infinite enemies spawning. They get harder and harder and harder and harder. You see how long you can last, and you're getting random items, just like Monster Train, random artifacts with random abilities and things. And yes, Andy and I are now at the point where some items are truly useless on some characters. They do nothing, and some are very good on other characters. We've played to the point where now, at least I probably know every item just from the shape of it all. 60, 70, whatever they are, however many there are.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's still, and I'm starting to develop the habit of being like, "Hey, Eats, what does this do?" And then just having you tell me quickly because I'll pick something up, and then like you're constantly checking or you're looking at the bottom left to see
Because I need
what I'm
those goddamn
grabbing.
mushrooms.
Like, what the fuck you picking up the fungus for, Andy? Fuck.
It does nothing
Sorry,
for
it's-
you. You're always moving,
We had-
Andrew. It literally never turns on. It's a dead item.
Well, and hey, I'm pretty much good now, but we really struggled off the bat with fucking that habit of unlocking a chest and then immediately grabbing the item and then just being like, fuck, I picked up the fungus. You'd be like, shit, I got the fucking red diamond. Sorry, Andy. Like, whatever.
Yeah, we're getting okay. We can't make it
it's
past
fun, though.
stage 8 to save our goddamn lives.
I thought we got to 9 once. I thought we skipped the portal. We've talked about this a couple times.
Yeah,
we got
portal
to
pops on 7, and then we do like 8 to 9. If we ever finished, we would have got to 9. Maybe we did make it to 9 once, but we've never made it to like close to 20. 20 is where the last unlock is.
Yeah, fuck, we got to get there.
We
did. We'll keep at her. Your knowledge and my relentlessness will make it happen.
Relentlessness.
No, my relentlessness.
Oh, sorry.
Did you say?
They said with high relentlessness. I'm like, what?
Well, also that.
He has that.
But we did see what is the? I hate the friggin' dragon snakes. Those guys are bullshit, and they piss me off more than the enemies that actually kill me because those guys are just hard to chase. What was the blue one that we finally saw?
It was a overloaded magma worm.
It was funny because when we were
magma
playing
worm,
with,
not dragon snakes.
I love that somebody was in the
Dragon snakes
chat.
at Overwatch.
I love that somebody was in the chat and was just like, "Oh, you guys haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see the overloaded magma worm." And we're like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And literally the next map, there's
for the first time
magma
too.
worm.
We had played like probably I don't know a jillion runs, give or take. Never saw one of these overloaded magma worms, and then literally the very next level, we both fucking died to it. You're like, what is this? Oh no! Yeah, I think so.
That's part of it though. The fucking lightning got me. I didn't know he made lightning.
The part that we get
good shit,
to is eventually that game just gets to the point where it's a bullet hell, and if you get hit once, you're dead. And I struggle a lot with. It seems like around stage 8, 9 is where it gets to that point. I struggle a lot of just never getting hit for like I don't know another hour 45 or whatever it's going to take you to get to stage 20 seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's something that we're doing wrong or if it's just actually a skill thing where we just need to keep moving, or it gets fucking hard. And especially because I'm always playing the melee guys. So I've got to get right in there up against dudes. And even I'll have that overshield going and somebody will just whack me once. And I'm like, well, I'm dead. And I don't know what hit me.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of that. We're like, I'm dead and I don't know what happened. It seemed like I fell through the earth this one time and died. But I think an enemy got me and it just sort of blew me downwards. And it's it's very fun though.
It kind of glitches. It is fun, yeah. Despite like you more so than me, the performance issues become a problem at times.
Oh,
It's
they're
a little
brutal.
itchy when it gets
runs
chaotic.
so fucking bad on Xbox One, so bad. Like, and again, we're at stage 8. We have to get to 20. We're gonna see theoretically twice as many enemies on screen, and it gets down to 1 or 2 frames a second sometimes. It is bad. So, it is like getting you killed. The performance is so bad sometimes. You're like, I'm trying to jump. I see this thing coming. I'm mashing jump. It's coming at 2 frames a second. Fuck. It got me. I hope they figure that out. It is still early access or whatever the preview program or whatever it is on Xbox. But
it's still a lot of fun though. It's still really like playing it. So
do I. It's very good.
Addicting. Super addicting.
Very good music also.
Oh, yes.
Anything else, Andy?
No, sir.
All right, well, let's take a quick break here, maybe, and we'll come back to got a little bit of news, some interesting stories here. We'll read a couple emails, and we'll hit the road. Let's come back and talk about some news. Top story tonight, gentlemen. I slammed my middle finger in some sliding doors today, and it hurts a lot, and my fingernail is probably going to fall off.
So,
sliding doors? I thought you slammed it at your car door.
Yeah, I thought it was your car door.
No, it was, did I say car door? I misspoke. While moving it, I grabbed a cabinet and it had doors on it that went shaboom when I lifted it up to throw it into a dumpster.
I think you just maybe transitioned from your car problem to the door so quickly that we thought that it was a car door.
Could have been. I very well could have misspoke. I was in a bit of a state when I finally got the fuck up here and logged on. One of those days. Top story tonight. Andy, hit us with your news story that you brought this week.
Didn't bring one, Matthew Eads. Brando, hit us with your news story that you brought us this
listen,
week.
Brando is a tentpole of this, or I will not hear his good name besmirched.
These fucking rookies coming in here, acting like they got
favorites now.
It's
It's funny because I always
everywhere.
complain about at work how it drives me nuts when people don't do their jobs and I have to constantly remind them about stuff. But as soon as I'm on the other end of not being in charge anymore, I just like completely forget about things. They just slip my mind. You gotta stay on it, Meads. You gotta stay on me. You gotta tell me. Fucking news story, brother.
I'm not gonna. Don't worry. It's okay. Listen, I got great news stories this week.
Yeah, but I would have had better ones if you would have stayed on me. So
Okay, here we
do
go.
that.
Here we go. All right, I'll remind you next time. I'll remind you.
Thanks, brother.
2 stories. All right. First of all, they're making Borderlands movie, which I think we might have loosely talked about before. I did not realize it was being directed by Eli Roth, which is maybe a bigger name on Borderlands than I would have thought. Apparently, Cate Blanchett is going to star in Eli Roth's Borderlands movie.
We think it's gonna get made then? Some names there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it seems it seems like we're setting for a Fassbender. What was that? Assassin's Creed. You know, like a big name. I don't know if Fassbender's as big of a name as Cate Blanchett, but big name.
No, I think Kate's definitely bigger.
Video game franchise. I don't even remember who directed it.
What about Tom Holland in Uncharted?
That's maybe never.
That one's
coming
not
out.
happening, right?
I don't think that one's happening.
Did
Which
you guys
one's
ever
more
see
likely?
the? Oh, sorry. I'll do my thing after.
Brandon?
Uncharted or
Metal
Borderlands?
Gear?
Which one's more likely?
Borderlands for sure. I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
Uncharted is presumably farther along in production.
I thought like Tom Holland was in, then he was out, and they had a screenwriter, and then they didn't. And what if I just put Uncharted movie into Bing here? What do I get for the most recent news? Antonio Banderas is apparently cast in it as of March the 2nd.
I wonder if he's Sully.
And Mark Wahlberg? What the fuck? Antonio Banderas cast on March the 2nd. March the 5th. Mark Wahlberg says Uncharted movie will be tenfold better than... Hang on, I gotta click in to find out what he thinks is 10 times better than... Mark Wahlberg says Uncharted movie will be tenfold better than previous versions? What does this mean? What?
There's never been a previous unless they mean like
I mean,
what they were coming up with before they got Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
This is from therap.com, and the opening sentence to this article says, just how long has Mark Wahlberg been attached to the Uncharted movie? A while, he says, apparently. He was once going to be Nathan Drake. Man, what a mess.
All right,
I don't
maybe
think
you're right.
this
Maybe
game's
it's
coming
Borderlands.
out. I don't know, man. Or this movie, I mean.
Go, Andy.
I was gonna say, did you guys ever watch that video that Nathan Fillion made of him acting like just as like a Nathan Drake short?
Yes.
Yep.
I remember that was like a few years ago now, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it has been a while. I thought that was pretty good.
Edmonton's own Nathan Fillion.
He doesn't really have the build for that character, but in terms of like the snarkiness and his delivery on the lines, I thought he did a really good job. I thought that was
Nathan Fillion used to be pretty big back in the... Isn't he? I remember being like pretty big in Firefly. He's like buff in a way. Drake's not huge.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I think Fillion's quite a bit. He's a little bit bigger.
Oh,
Now.
I
don't
see what
think he
you're
has,
saying.
Okay. Yeah, I think Drake has a bit of a slimmer build than he does.
Did you see that deep fake where they put Nathan Fillion's face over Nate Drake's, and it's like Nathan Fillion was in the game the whole time? I'll send it to you. It's fucked. We are
really? I haven't
so
seen that.
fucked, man. Like that deep fake stuff is. Oh my god! You can just make a video of anyone doing literally anything, and it is indistinguishable from
You can
reality
tell
now.
if you watch it enough.
some of them you can. There are some good ones. Well, and these are the fun conspiracy theory ones where they're like, this is a deep fake, but you can't tell. I'm like, well, maybe it's just a real. Maybe this is the person. Who knows? But
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll send that thing to you, Andy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll watch that. That'll be dope.
I
Like
got
even the like Carrie Fisher one and the and I know this is a little bit different, but the Carrie Fisher one and the
Grand Moff Tarkin.
oh, what's his name? Brian from Fast and Furious.
Oh, Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, even those ones, like with all those budgets behind them, there's always a few moments where you're like, oh, that's not him.
Yeah. If I maintain, because remember they did the whole CG Tarkin in, is that Rogue One, I think? Rogue One or Solo? I don't remember.
Rogue One, yeah.
If nobody told me that was CG, I would have just assumed that actor was still alive. Like I
don't think I thought that looked a little
if
off.
I know to look for it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I do kind of see it. The lighting is a little weird, but like if nobody told me, I'd be like, damn, this dude is still alive. Holy.
Yeah. No, they do very good
just
work. Yeah.
When you just allow yourself to just get immersed in it, then yeah, you can just kind of it's no different than your Red Dead Redemption role playing. You just have to kind of let yourself be taken by that world. When it comes to that stuff, you just kind of have to let yourself be taken by it.
Yeah, the deep fake stuff is still very frightening. Very, very.
It is unsettling, but I think from a like real world setting, I like to think that the deep fake experts are always going to be able to tell if something's deep fake. So
always?
in theory,
I don't know about always. Now maybe.
I don't know.
Like,
I think it's like anything. I think it's like anything
I think
where
so,
like
yeah.
the pros can always be like, oh no, that's not real. So as long as there's pros on both sides.
Oh, but that gets even riskier. Where and now there's like only a certain class of people can tell, or maybe what if they're we could make a whole novel about this dystopian future where like
that's a lot of
these
jobs,
people
though.
Decide.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a lot of jobs where it's like you need to have like a doctor to know that this other doctor did some fucked up shit and get it well.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, somebody could also, somebody who even maybe isn't building that craft up themselves to be able to actually do it. If that becomes an issue, there will be people that specifically study recognizing when this stuff is actually fake and then building up a reputation of being very accurate with it, where we'll have people that can,
we'll see.
debunk this stuff.
I'm trying to think of a good example, but I feel like this is just like 100 other things that have come up in the past.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
This will probably be no different. This is just, yeah.
Until Hatsune Miku like robs a bank or something, we're probably okay.
No.
Apparently, Craig, I think it's Craig Mazin, I think is how you say it. The screenplay and the creator of Chernobyl, HBO's Chernobyl, he won an Emmy specifically for writing, I believe. For my goodness, won an Emmy specifically for writing for Chernobyl. And doesn't say if he's doing the screenplay for the final film or what, but did the latest screenplay of the Borderlands film. Apparently, Cate Blanchett is going to play Lilith, who was one of the main characters in Borderlands 1, and then I think shows up in maybe every game after, including what's the Telltale game that is actually very good?
Pre-sequel? Oh no,
Tales from the Borderlands.
Tales.
Here's a quote I pulled from Eli Roth, which I don't know. It's this, like there's such a disconnect in my head of this incredibly, regal, sophisticated, like Cate Blanchett. My God, what a, Galadriel. Like what, just a very very high class lady, and then there's the Borderlands world like clashing. Eli says, from drama to comedy and now action, Cate makes every scene sing. Working with her is truly a director's dream come true, and I feel so fortunate that I get to do it again on an even bigger scale. Everyone brings their A game to work with Cate, and I know together we're going to create another iconic character in her already storied career from the Borderlands film.
It's fucking weird thinking about Borderlands in this way.
Yeah.
You have to. You gotta sound confident whenever you're talking about a movie you're making. So
well, yeah, you gotta sell the sizzle, not the steak. I'm with you.
I mean, you kind of described her as elegant, but you look at her in Thor, and like
she's got range. She got range.
Yeah, she's got range. Like it would not surprise me if she was the best thing about this movie, even with like she's the type of actress that.
What's her name? Hella? Hel? No. What's her name in Thor?
It's Hell something.
Hela.
One sec here.
It's not Hela.
Yeah, it's
Is
Hela.
it?
It's Hela.
Oh, that word's been ruined for me. I would argue Hela has a certain
Norse
elegance to her.
thing.
I think she's just Hel. I thought she was just Hel in Norse mythology. Maybe
No,
it's
it
one of
says
those. Yeah, I mean, Hel in Norse
They could've stretched
mythology,
it.
originally the name for the world of the dead. Hel is one of the children of the trickster gods, Loki. Anyways. Hel versus maybe
You're right, though. She did have a bit of elegance in that, but she also seems like somebody who could. She's, like you said, she's got range. She can handle it.
Hel, also known
She
as
might also
Hela,
want the challenge.
also referred to as the Two-Faced Tear, a.k.a. TFT. You also see Hela in God of War. In the form of a giant raven, I believe.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, it's Hela. Allegedly a raven. That's all I got on the Borderlands film.
Definitely a raven.
Yeah. Here's another weird story. Did you ever play Kingdom of Amalur Reckoning back in, what was this, 2010 maybe? It was when I was at BioWare
No, sir.
it came out. Let's see. Release date. It is a 2012. 2012, yeah, right there. Right when Dragon Age 2 came out. Tis a kind of action RPG. Kurt Schilling, the former baseball player, got himself, and this is just kind of my very brief understanding of the story, but got himself a bunch of money from, I think, the state of Rhode Island, to make this MMO game, which I think was going to be Copernicus. I'm not sure how that lines up, but anyways, they got $75 million, I believe. Bought another studio, which was Big Huge Games. Had them make Reckoning, which was an action RPG, not this MMO. It was supposed to lead into the MMO. They were, creating this this universe. This, it's going to be a multi-game thing. This one, the action tells you about the MMO. Yada yada yada. Game did not sell very well. Was not profitable. 38 Studios filed for bankruptcy. Kurt Schilling stole the developers' last 2 paychecks, and it was that whole thing of like, I'm paying my staff, yada yada. And actually, no, he wasn't. Filed for bankruptcy. Ended up giving back. It was like 2.5 million of the 75 million. Anyways, they are re-releasing Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. It's a very long-winded way of getting around to this re-release called Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning.
That's a dumb name.
That's a dumb name. It's going to be a... I don't even really know the scale of the remaster here, but they say that... maybe I didn't even pull the quote. Updated visuals... I guess I didn't pull the quote. Yeah, updated visuals, and as far as I understand it, that's maybe it.
Sure.
Yeah, Jason Schreier tweeted out on, Twitter, something to the effect of, I'm basically stealing his tweet here when I say that none of the money from this re-release will go to the game developers who did not get their last 2 paychecks, who had their healthcare canceled, who, for all the reasons that Cliffy B, Dude Huge, and his actions with the closing of his studio really don't sit right with me even to this day. This is all the same shit, just, 7 years earlier. 8 years earlier. But it's coming up. People like that game, I guess. I've never played it, but reviewed well.
I actually have not heard of it.
Yeah, reviewed pretty well, and I do hear a lot of people talking about it even today.
Let me know when the Reckoning comes out.
Slay the Spire. We talked a little bit about that. This show actually is a kind of a deck building roguelike that you're playing in runs. It's really good. It was our number 5 game of the year last year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. Coming to iOS. 6
or 7 spots too high.
It's very good. It deserves it. It's coming to iOS and Android. Fucking A. At long last. Due on iOS this month. Android date coming soon, apparently. It's a perfect game for it. Oh my goodness, perfect game for iOS or Android.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, totally. You can like sit runs down halfway through. It's the type of game where you can just turn it off in the middle of a turn. It doesn't matter. And it's like it is made for these. There are 30-second chunks that you can kind of parse it into. There are like 5-minute chunks. There are 30-minute chunks. It's a good. I have a little bit of time and want to do a thing game. And it's so
I wonder
fun.
if that would make it retroactively the first cell phone game we've ever had in our top 5.
I think you might.
No, you Crossy Roads. Or no, but that wasn't the official.
No,
Yeah, Crossy Road never.
I
made
had
the-
it in
the
my
show
top 10.
5.
It was number 10 on my list.
I think it might be. Like, what about FTL? That'd be too early, I guess. I don't know if we're doing gaudy shows. I think it might be. XCOM? Did XCOM ever? Was that ever in our top 5?
Coming to phones?
It's an iOS. Yeah, XCOM's on iOS. XCOM is on iPad. and things.
Like actual XCOM? It's not like a cell phone version? Okay.
No, it is the main game, which it would work perfect for it too. Like dragging around that grid and stuff. I bet works real well.
Yeah, you guys would have had XCOM on a list if you guys were doing lists.
100% we would have. Yeah, Kevin and I really.
But I don't
love
think
that
you were
game.
doing lists.
I think you're correct. My last story this week. Remember Dead Island 2? Not to be confused with Dead Island Riptide. That was the sequel to Dead Island. That one actually came out. I think that was a sequel. Was that a... Hang on. Was that a DLC as I say that? It's been a long time.
I remember Dead Island.
Riptide is a proper sequel, yes. They said they were working on Dead Island 2. THQ Nordic said they were working on Dead Island 2 back in 2014 was like kind of the last real of them being like, yep, Dead Island 2 is coming, we're working on it. And you know, they got out there in 2016. We're like, hey, still, don't worry, it's still going. We're not canceled. And apparently it's not canceled. They apparently it is a real video game that exists. Some footage of it released. THQ's gotten out there and basically said like, yeah, see, told you, it'll be out when it's out. We're working on it still. And it looks. This is weird that we were talking about Last of Us a little bit like this earlier. It looks exactly how I remember the first Dead Island, where if you just told me this was like a Dead Island remaster, again, it's been a very, very long time, so maybe there are significant feature differences where like I saw a lady dual wielding, and like maybe that's new or something. But you're still bashing zombies, it looks like, and they're kind of... Remember in Dead Island, they were kind of like... Almost like they were filled with water in a way where you hit them and they like... You were breaking bones, remember? You like break an arm and then their arm was like dangling loose even though it kind of still flopped around. And like they saw that same weird physics about them. And I saw someone with a katana and a big D-volt battery on the bottom with wires wrapped around it. And it looked like a little more Dead Island.
Yeah, Dead Island never did it for me in the way that Dying Light was what I wanted Dead Island to be.
Yeah, very, very different like tone, very different games.
Yeah.
Did you ever get in like co-op for Dead Island? I remember having the most fun in Dead Island playing that 4-person co-op with people.
I thought it wasn't. I don't think I did, but I just thought it wasn't fun or good.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah, it had a very like weird combat system. I remember. If you do like Dead Island, which I think I did, I also suspect I might play Dead Island today and be like, oof, video games have come a long way, Jesus. But it looks like more of it. I don't know, and it's interesting that they've apparently been working on it for all these years. So, still exists, still real. Dead Island 2, not dead yet.
LOL.
Boom.
That's the subtitle.
Yep. Remember that trailer of the first game with the I don't know, girl on a little girl zombie on her dad's back who goes backward through the hotel window? Very high window, like falling, shattered glass, real like CG trailer. It turns out it actually had nothing to do with the fucking game.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, it's one of those trailers that if you saw
that.
it, you'd be like, oh, yeah, right, shit.
Yeah. Was that? I thought that they like popped that at E3, right? And everybody was like, oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that, yeah.
And that is your news for the week. Podcast at talkingreckless.com is an email address. I'm checking right now to see if we have any. I do have an email pull. We'll see if any came in between when I checked last and now. You also
came in while you were locking your keys in your car and slamming your fingers in drawers.
Moving my folks today. Or you can try and drop voicemails on our subreddit, which should be working now, better than before. It seems like the podcast email is down. So, oh no, here it goes, very slowly. This one comes in from, let's see here. Meat says, good evening. Not my opinion. This is great. All good emails start with, not my opinion. But I saw this argument come up online. What's your opinion on DLC content that is also open to multiplayer being, quote, pay to win, end quote? Typically, DLC offers exclusive content, weapons, unlocks, etc. that can often be carried over to multiplayer, which some people feel can give an unfair advantage. Just curious to know your thoughts. Ta-ta and farewell. Meet reality. A very recent example of this would be, I think Battle Pass stuff 100% counts, content that you're paying for. I don't know what they're called, but those dual fucking pistols in Modern Warfare that were on the Battle Pass.
Yeah.
And were just like so overpowered. It was like the old days of the 725 where everybody in every game mode was using them and just wrecking.
So can I jump in here quickly?
Yeah.
So I think, I think that this is right. So the Battle Pass had a pistol that you could unlock. You unlock that pistol, and I think most pistols in Modern Warfare, you unlock a perk that allows you to hold 2 of that pistol. So this specific pistol, you would just unlock it, and it was, it was a good pistol, but it was when you actually got that double pistol unlocked that it became overpowered.
Yeah. That felt real bad. As someone who doesn't buy the Battle Pass and did not have that pistol, it did not make me want to buy the Battle Pass. It actually just made me stop playing Modern Warfare, and I've actually not gone back since.
And I think that was only effective in Warzone. I think that's where it was as dangerous as it was.
Yeah, that's what I primarily play now is Warzone.
Yeah. So do you think that they put that in there on purpose to encourage people to buy the Battle Pass, or do you think that was something that they had to?
I want to believe it was probably accidental. It's so easy to be like, yeah, of course they did. They wanted you to buy their fucking Battle Pass, and it's easier for them to be like, whoops, sorry, it was just a pistol, we didn't realize. But like, isn't it cool that the item you have to pay money for turned out to be the thing that everybody has to use?
There he goes.
We just lost Brando.
Yeah.
Man tipped over in shock.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was intentional. You can never really know, I guess, but it
I
feels
will
bad.
say that despite you guys bringing that one up, I can come up with almost no examples of this in my head. At least in situations where I played the game.
I can think of quite a few. Smash Brothers
and maybe that's
is all those DLC characters are kind of prime example of that would be. Right?
Yeah,
no, I never felt bad to me.
Like,
it's a little bit different because like Smash Brothers is we don't play Smash Brothers in that competitive way, but
right.
It definitely would fall into that.
Like Brandon and I were just playing.
Sorry, go ahead, Andy.
I was just gonna say, like, one of the biggest examples recently was Byleth going into Smash Bros. Brando and I played a couple of weekends ago, and you'll go up against a couple people. Sure, I'll be slamming my axe down on them and wrecking them for the first minute or so, but then eventually they figure it out. Like, you kind of just got to figure out what's going on with those new characters, and once you do, then you've got it sorted. So at Smash Bros, all the new characters, like, at first you're like, what the fuck is going on? Then you're like, oh, okay, actually you just got to do this and you can handle them.
Yeah, I honestly think that Byleth was the only character they've ever released where I was like, oh, this guy seems noticeably better than everyone else. Where all the other characters, I'm like, well, some of these guys, the Piranha Plant, I was like, this Piranha Plant seems like the worst character in the game, which I'm sure is not. But
the other one was Hero, and I think Hero is still the thing. The Hero was a weird one though because it was the randomness of his attacks that made him frustrating. But you can Hero's like playing Risk of Rain. You can have a run with him in that game, and you fucking just destroy people, and then you can have another run where all you get is teleporters and nothing good.
We don't need to get hung up on Smash Brothers either. Like we don't see a ton of this anymore, and the reason is because Battlefront 2 broke it for everybody. Battlefront 2 was kind of the worst offender of this. And everybody was so offended that the 180 that the industry did of like, whoa, we need to not do this ever anymore. It became a selling point, right? Of like, and all our game affecting content is available to you. Everything is like, right. That's where cosmetic only comes from. That's why we have that phrase of all DLC is cosmetic only. The things you buy, the microtransactions are cosmetic only, means they don't affect gameplay, because Battlefront 2 broke everything for everybody. So we don't see a ton of it anymore. But it was bullshit when it happened, and the rare cases that it still does happen, it's fucking bullshit. It's a ploy to make you spend more money, which
Yeah, no, I
Never
don't like
feels
pay to
good.
win mechanics.
No, not at
If
all.
that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
If
I thought the spirit
ahead,
of the
Brandon.
email was more DLC.
But there is like
Where-
it is, but there's definitely and it's not even like that crazy of a view that like you have access to a bigger character pool, you have an obvious advantage. They're gonna be no matter what the game, they're gonna be characters, they're gonna be whatever you get access to, they're gonna be things that just having, even if you just have more options at your disposal, there you
So
could
you
do
don't-
that as an advantage.
You don't think that like a Street Fighter or anything should have characters that you unlock with DLC?
In a perfect world, no. I wish it, like I don't play fighting games obviously, so it is a kind of everything we say obviously applies to how we
totally get what
play
you're
our games
saying.
and everything,
But at the same time, I couldn't imagine anything from a Smash Brothers or a fighting game or something like that that would even remotely interest me if it wasn't characters.
So how about this? Here are two very different examples. Dota, everything is cosmetic only. You have access to every single character. You're buying skins,
Yep.
you're buying maps, you're buying announcers, all cosmetics. League of Legends, a very, very similar type of game, literally based off the other one. Super simple, looks like the same game from the top down. You're buying the heroes. You only get access to a very small pool of the heroes, and you can very slowly grind up the currency, or you have to buy the good heroes. Rainbow Six Siege, another great example of that, where I feel like if we played Rainbow Six Siege, because that is a game of, as I understand, kind of paper, rock, scissors, where, if you spent the money and bought all the DLC characters who are rocks, and I don't have any paper because I just got the free, 2 guys or whatever, like that feels bad. That, and again, it's all different, right? Because Rainbow Six Siege, you're buying for seasons, and it's all different depending on the pricing model, but like.
Yeah, it is honestly, it's a very difficult question to answer, right? And it kind of also comes down to trusting the developers in a way, because when it comes to a character in a fighting game, or even like a car in Forza or whatever, if they were going to introduce something new, if they're going to put in a new character, and they built that character to fit into the system that already exists, where like, yeah, this character can be beat, there's ways to take this character out. It's like Overwatch. Like, I'm not paying for those new characters in Overwatch, they're just giving them to me. But they build those characters to fit into the system for the most part that's already there, and then they design the game around it, right? They make the adjustments, they make sure it's all still fair. But if they're forcing you into buying stuff so that you can keep up with the rest of the player base on that game, then that's wrong.
What
if you're
like,
just paying for something because you want a new experience, you want a new, something to, kind of refresh the game for you, but it still fits in and you can still play with other people who aren't buying that, and it's fair, totally fine. But if you're being forced into it so that you get good faster, then that's bad.
Yeah, well, like an example, what if the new Overwatch characters cost money? What if they weren't free? You got whatever came on the base game, and then they were $5 a pop or whatever.
So I'm very glad that they don't cost money. But to Andy's point, the Overwatch characters feel like the developers do a very good job of. I never feel like any of these characters are the 2 characters I feel like are the biggest pains in the ass were originals. All the other characters, it's like,
but
there's this. It doesn't feel like it's a totally different thing than a pay to win thing, where it's like, oh, this person bought a card that makes them objectively better than a situation where like, oh, this is a character with her own strengths and weaknesses that I do not feel like I'm at a disadvantage for not being able to pick.
You don't think so? Even if it's like, well, it turned like
maybe,
Sombra is a good example or whatever. Mercy's real popular in the meta right now. Turns out, and this doesn't apply, but it turns out Sombra counters her very well. But that Sombra's a paid character. That would am I going to get in there and play? Do I play at the level where that matters? No, of course not. But just the idea that someone who spends more money is going to have an advantage over me makes me not want to engage with that system at all.
If you play a game like a fighting game, or like say if Overwatch, if you had to buy those characters, if you're playing a game where you buy new characters and those new characters might offer strengths to counter old characters, if you're playing at a level where that actually matters, you're probably going to pay for it. Like, you are into that game.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Maybe you're somebody who literally can't, right? We are in kind of a privileged position where it's like, $20 in DLC, here you go. Maybe
but there's
you can.
probably still there's probably still another counter though. If you're playing a fighting game and you're going up against somebody else and you have your main character and they pick some new character that's good at taking down that main that you use, there's probably a character that was already there in the base game that would do the same thing. There's just this new one now that you have to deal with and learn to fight against.
Yeah, maybe there would be, maybe there wouldn't be.
Or maybe you split the servers and you're like, here's a server for people who don't buy anything, here's a server for people that do.
But that's also a problem that is trying to be avoided now with not putting maps in DLC, right? Like nobody wants to split their player base.
And if you force other people to play with those other characters, you definitely incentivize them to buy it, where they're like, man, I just got rolled by blank. Maybe I'll think about, Dragon Ball Fighter Z is the one. Dragon Ball Fighters would do that to me big time, where like I would get rolled by I don't even know any of the DLC characters.
Goku Black.
He was in the base game. I was gonna say Goku Black too. Hits. There you go. Perfect. Like, oh man, I got totally fucked with Hit. Hit is so cool. Oh, I'm gonna buy him because I want to have the option of. I don't know. That's from a competitive standpoint, right? If you're thinking about it competitively, which of course you are in this extreme where you're offended about things that affect the gameplay.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's why there's that problem for me trying to, defend allowing that stuff, because I'm never going to play at that level, and I want more things. If somebody's like with Smash Bros, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do more new characters this year." I'm like, "Fucking awesome! I can't wait to hear what they are." I don't care. Like, I'm like, whatever, who cares? I'm gonna get them. I love this game, so that's good.
Because games where I'm not willing to.
Right, but even games where if there was a game where I wouldn't buy the extra characters, probably not playing that game anymore, so I don't care anyways. So there's no in between for me. If I'm playing a game and if I play it all the time, I bought a fucking pet in Sea of Thieves. Like, I'm clearly a guy who does not care about spending a little extra money for a game. So if I'm playing something and I'm loving playing it and they're announcing some new content, some new characters, I'm gonna buy into it.
You're part of the problem. You're the reason.
You're
Andy Battlefront original No, you can't even call it original Battlefront. The first pass of Battlefront 2 2018 Captain.
I get your point, Eads, but there is something so fundamentally different about the objective pay for higher level guns versus pay for a different style character.
Sure, but none of these situations are high. Like the pistol is not a higher level gun. It just turned out to be broken if you had two of them.
Yeah, and
like none of these games that I brought up are you're not paying for like.
You look at like Halo
you're not paying for bigger numbers.
Yeah, you're paying for bigger numbers in Battlefront 2, essentially.
Yeah, that's why Battlefront 2 is a problem.
Yeah, you kind of.
Like, I totally get that. I get.
You were also paying for every single hero.
When Halo 5 launched, you were paying for cards.
Yeah.
That were giving you vehicles when other people didn't have vehicles and stuff like that. Like, I thought that was all bullshit. I feel like I totally understand your point where having a bigger character pool gives you more options. But as someone who's only played at the level that I have played at, I have so many options that I've never found myself in a situation where I'm like, this person that I paid for or that someone paid for is OP.
Yeah. Well, I think that's because we don't play these types of games. These types of games are not very popular anymore unless you're like Clash Royale or something. These types of games are not very popular anymore.
The games that we pay for the DLC.
Yes, and yes, that is another great. Like, we're not the kid who just gets a game and that's your game for the year. Play it and shut up. We are adults now who can afford to spend a bit of money on this stuff. Who knows? The industry shifts. It seems big shifts every few years. But we're slow. It seems like we're slowly kind of creeping back to. I wonder what loot boxes for the next generation will be like. Let's say. I wonder if we'll see the continuation of that type of.
Well, and then loot boxes are
business.
A whole different issue, right?
Yeah. Well,
loot boxes are the whole pay for a chance at something, which I'm very against.
Yeah, the worst of them are quite usually tied in with pay to win mechanics as well.
And especially with Battlefront, like, it is just the absolute best or worst example, whatever you want to call it, of like being what we're talking about right now at its worst. Because not only could you pay to get better, you also had to pay through buying loot boxes to get better. So it wasn't even like I could buy a better gun for the character I like playing. It was I need to buy fucking loot boxes to get the chance to get the gun I like for my heavy guy, or to get Darth Vader. Like, are you fucking kidding me that they would do that? Like, come on. Fuck off. I'm going to pay $80 for your game and then you can do that. Anyways, that's in the past now, so I'm not going to rant about it, but
we should play some Battlefront 2 soon. That game really...
That's a great game now.
For a while. Yeah. I don't know if I say it's great. It's a pretty good game.
It's a great chat room game.
It's a very good forget your troubles and just talk while you hold down the fire button and kill infinite enemies. Because laser guns never run out of bullets.
Nah.
They overheat, but...
Overheat, hit your active reload, fucking get back on that trigger.
The thing like goes flying out. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Podcast at talkingrocks.com is the email address. We also have a subreddit that I forget to post the question thread on every week, but you can drop emails on there. I'm just going to check it real fast just in case. Would hate to leave anybody out. I did remember. Oh, that's because we missed last week. So I sort of remembered, but we're good. Podcast at talkingrocks.com. That email one more time. That's going to do it here for us. Talking Reckless 321 in the books here. I think, I don't know. We're in the studio for D&D now. So I think we'll be in the studio for the podcast, maybe sometime soon. What do I got to tell you about? We'll be doing some Red Dead RP on the stream this week if you want to come by and see what that is all about. I never write these announcements down because I'm dumb and then I always forget them, but that's okay. There probably aren't any. Just if you like the show and want to support us, help keep us on the air, you can head over to patreon.com/talkingrecklesspodcast. Obviously there's a lot of I maybe hesitant even to say there's a lot of shit in the world going on and a lot of things that demand your dollars right now. This economy freezing pandemic and the Black Lives Matter, obviously a lot of people, myself included, giving money where they can. But thank you very much to those who've been able to keep up the patronage. Very much appreciated. We do our D&D podcast, Rolling Reckless. Go look for that on YouTube or Spotify or TuneIn, whatever, however you want to enjoy it. Video, audio, it is very easy to find. And what else do we do? That's probably it, I guess. Come on by the live stream. Maybe Andy and I will play some Risk of Rain or something this week. We've been playing a lot of it lately, so there's a good chance. Chance of rain, as they say.
We gotta at least make it to the double digits this week.
Yeah, shit. Let's see 10. Let's see the sunset of 10 if we can.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, and we'll be up for some Super Saiyan Pod Super Saiyan before too long here as well. So look forward to that. Andy Captain, thank you very much, my friend, for making the time.
Thank you for inviting me. It's not about making the time; it's about hanging with good friends.
Yes, Brandon Lynch, thank you for being a tentpole of hanging with good friends. TM.
You betcha.
As we call it.
Whenever I can be here or there, I will be here or there.
Hell yes. Mr. Satan above us, you can see him. That's how he, what does he say? That's how I defeated the Lord Beavis. Where he goes Super Saiyan and his mustache turns blonde is very good. Thank you, Mr. Satan.
I have to say, I spent, I think, half an hour on fucking a Snapchat call with our good friend Warren Barris last weekend, fucking trying to find a video of Mr. Satan going, "Oh yeah!" There is not one anywhere on the internet. I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it anywhere. Down low. Oh yeah! I was hanging out with some other friends who have a child, and I was underneath the child's room on the main floor. I probably screamed no less than 80 times at 2:30 in the morning. Yeah!
That kid knew. He's like, "Oh, Mr. Satan's downstairs." He had to go back to bed because Mr. Satan was going to come up and give him a thrashing.
Oh yeah, not being in bed on time.
If he saw Mr. Satan, he wouldn't get any of his presents.
That's right. And to you at home, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for putting with our audio quality. I know the internet calls kind of suck sometimes, but I promise we'll be back in the studio sometime very soon. We'll see you here next week. Stay safe. Stay sane if you can. Black Lives Matter. Educate yourself. Educate the people around you. Do not stop the message. And we will see you here next week.